I'm assuming that I can be heard now. Okay, good. Y'all know I had to do a whole surgery. Oh, this a cheap ass mother. Anything that you can just buy. Cause I bought this laptop 2 years ago from HP. But that don't mean jack shit. You know what I'm saying? If because I know how to build systems, and that's what I think I'm gonna do. For the next system that I have, I am just gonna have to build that motherfucker like I usually do, like I used to do. Just build it. Cause you either gotta build it or you have to buy a really high end. Cause if you can pick it up off the shelf, or even if they call themselves, kind of customizing it for you, that's not shit. This threw me off. This is 36 minutes behind my damn schedule. I was only going to be on here for like 2 hours because, I got to chase paper in this Uber, y'all, because it is raining and it's Saturday, and that mean money. So hopefully I can get my viewers back who were trying to be here on time. I was trying to be here on time as well, but it sucks. So I think I'll give people a moment or two just to realize that we're up and running or what have you. And then we could get started on this because it is a lot of goofy shit happening. And, it sort of ties into the last video I did. And I didn't think that I would need to revisit such a simple topic, defining manhood, manhood, excuse me. I didn't think that I would have to revisit that because shouldn't have to. It's simple, right? It's a simple thing. And then I was shown a video today that I think I'm going to show you guys that had to do with, okay, what is that show? Is it The View? Is it The View? Or it's one of them shows where a bunch of bitches is talking. The one of the Maori twins, I think it's Tia, or is it Tamara? And then a couple of other chicks. And they were calling themselves going in on some guy who be on Love and Hip Hop or whatever, saying that, real men don't want the talk. That's what it is. The talk. Thank you, Dave. Hey, Art. And they were calling themselves dragging that guy because he said that real men don't want 100% independent women. And if men were put on this earth to maintain and protect, but women are saying that they don't need that, then what is it that men are supposed to do? And then women went in on him. And I thought that was crazy. I thought that was so crazy. As a matter of fact, I am going to find that clip and I'm going to play it because I watched it. And then I'm going to share the screen. Imma share this screen. Yeah. Okay. So let me share my screen with you guys, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it as well. I was thinking y'all might not coulda heard that. Nothing's going right for me today, cause I really wanted y'all to hear that, to hear the whole thing. That's why um, I wanted to play it for you so that you could hear it, but in any case, that's what the guy was saying. You don't want 100% independent woman. Um, he was like, "It's cool if you know how to go out there and grind and get yours and blah, 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 like, that's awesome, but all of that, I don't need no motherfucking man, and can't no man do nothing for me," type attitude. He was like, "No man likes that." Now, I originally was not going to include anything from that clip because I didn't know about that clip until a few hours ago. Because what I really wanted to talk about was women attempting to define manhood on everything except what men say manhood is. Hello, Officer Faulkner. You gonna get enough of talking to me sweetly in these chat rooms. Baltimore is not all that far from Chicago. It's not all that far, and I like road trips. So you gonna learn today. But anyway, um, women like to define manhood based on everything but what a man is saying about his manhood. Now, here you had a guy who was trying to say that he, as a man, does not want a woman who is 100% independent. And he went on to mention something very traditional for men, which is to provide and protect, right? And everybody knows that that's the traditional male role, to provide and protect for his woman. Art says Candy Graham for me. Not quite. Not quite a candy gram. I wish I could get a candy gram. I haven't had a candy gram in quite a while, actually. But anyway, not to derail the conversation, but he's saying these are the traditional roles of men, right? At least two things, the providing and the protecting. And he said, okay, if you don't need us to do that, something that we are built to do, then what do you want us to do? Okay. So I found nothing wrong with that. He's basically saying men need to feel needed in a relationship, right? Men need to feel needed. They want to feel like their woman needs them. I don't see that there's anything wrong with that. Women always say, we need to feel needed by our man and desired and wanted by our man. We want to know that he's checking for us, and I wanted to feel needed by my husband. I wanted to feel needed, right? And I always told him I needed him. I need you. Because if I say I don't need you, then that automatically translates into um, being expendable, right? You're expendable. I don't need a specific brand of toilet paper either, right? I don't need to go and get Scott specifically. I can go and get like a off dollar brand, right? Because I'm doing the same shit with it, right? So there's nothing special that Scott tissue offers me that a dollar store tissue doesn't offer me because I'm doing the exact same thing with both of the tissues, no matter whose name is on the package. That is what you say when you tell men in general, or you tell your man, I don't need you, I want you. So what happens to him the day that you don't want him? What happens to the relationship the day that you don't want him? Or the day that he no longer wants you? He doesn't need you, just wants you. And when he wants someone else and does not want you anymore, you will be garbage, tossed to the side, right? And so if you don't want him anymore, the day comes and you see something else you want and you don't no longer want him, he'll be garbage to the side. So you want to feel useful and needed in a relationship. But that's almost a tangent to what I really want to talk about. That was just more an example of how women will bypass what a man is saying about his own manhood. Because we don't like it when men try to tell us what womanhood is. We don't like that. And when they try to tell us what femininity is, we don't like that. We don't want them to comment on it. We don't want them to say, well, this is what femininity is, and it's this characteristic and this trait. Because a lot of men really can't name for you what femininity is. They just know it when they see it. Right? They just know it when they see it. They know a woman in her womanhood when they see her. Okay? And they know a woman that's not really being feminine when they see her. They know that. They just know what it looks like. They know how it makes them feel. Men know how feminine women make them feel. That is how they know that this woman is being feminine versus this woman is not being feminine, or this woman is outright being masculine, right? So they know how you make them feel. So if you make them feel two things, a woman makes him feel more like a man. Like, okay, I'm kind of feeling my manhood right now being around her. And she brings out these things in him. She brings out his instinct of wanting to protect her, wanting to, you know, be around her and sort of guard and sort of, if she's bringing out those traits and those instincts of his manhood, then he will automatically attribute femininity to her because that is what femininity does, right? He just knows what it does. He just knows how it makes him feel, but he would be hard pressed to define it in any exact term because you never hear men saying, well, a real woman wouldn't blah, 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 blah. And a real woman does this, that, and the third. And you're not a real woman because a real woman, you don't really hear men refer to women in those terms. But there's a lot of shaming language, even in the clip that I just showed that unfortunately you guys could not hear. Um, there was a lot of shaming language. Well, a real man would not be intimidated by an independent woman. This is stupid. And my question is, what do these women know about real men? Because many women I find have no actual concept of what manhood is. They don't listen to the men to tell them this is what manhood and masculinity is and let the men define it. And, okay? And say, aggression is part of it. And these other instincts that we have as men is simply part of being a man. That is what it is. This is what being a man is. And they will dismiss it. They'll dismiss it in favor of a definition of manhood that doesn't have anything to do with reality. And this goes back to the video that I did before about simply a lot of women not seeing the humanity of men. They don't think of men as human beings. And I never thought that that was the case. I heard men say that once or twice, and I thought that they were being extreme when they said that. Because there's no way that women don't see men as people. I mean, obviously, they're people. Why would they not see them as people? But a lot of women don't. And I blame feminism for that. I mean, these are the characteristics that these misguided women think manhood is. A man is, like I said in the video, he's never having any moment of doubt or uncertainty or a moment where, things are kind of questionable for him and he may make an error in his judgment or something. And it's like, why not? He's human. He's allowed to fail at something. He's allowed to not, you know, he's allowed to not succeed 100% at everything. Who can do that? Who can do that? And I don't understand not seeing a man's humanity. That's the only word that I can put to that. Why aren't we seeing it? Why don't we know that they can stumble or falter or make mistakes or do something wrong or why don't we know that? These crazy definitions. Men never cry, men always are supposed to be just unwavering. Just unwavering. Just there's never an error. Never an error. But my thing is, if you thought men were doing that or could do that, why are you so obstinate? If his Leadership is to be without flaw or blemish of any kind. Why aren't you falling in line? Because if I thought somebody's leadership was infallible, I would never question it. Ever. I would never question that leadership, right? Because it doesn't need question. It's infallible. It is literally unable to be wrong. It literally cannot ever be in error. And who's perfect? I mean, these are the same women that want men to accept them as they are, with every fault or flaw. She can have a bad attitude. She can be ugly. She can be um, just this stubborn, hard headed, uncooperative woman. She can be fat. She can have a lot of emotional problems. She can have a lot of family problems. She can have a lot of baggage from her exes. She can have all of these things wrong with her. And she'll want a man to not say anything about it. Don't gripe. Don't try to correct. Don't try to, you know, do or say anything to, straighten any of that out. Just accept her and love her and coddle her and provide for her and whatever it is that she needs. And he's to do this without a complaint, with no complaints. And she's supposed to be the apple of his eye. No matter what she does, no matter how she emasculates him or curses him out or, just basically doesn't do anything that he wants done ever. So there you have it. That is the perfect feminist relationship. The woman can have everything in the world going on with her. And the men are supposed to smile and be docile and understanding and rub her feet and paint her toenails while she tells him all about the rough day that she had at work and how she didn't get the promotion. It's probably because she's a woman. And, talk about the shopping spree she wants to go on. And he's supposed to nod and smile and continue to rub her feet and rub her back, possibly do her hair, cook the dinner that night, put the children to bed, make sure that the house is clean, and then they snuggle up and watch a romantic comedy on Netflix. And he is also not to mention all of this cuddling and coddling and coddling after your feelings is supposed to only lead to sleep, not sex, because if he wants sex, that means he's a womanizer and a whoremonger. So therefore, he's supposed to want you, just for you and not for your body. And this is stupid. Did you hear how dumb that is? If you want all of that shit, that sound like your girlfriend, right? So what you want me in for? I do that type of shit with my sister. We'll sit and do hair we'll sit in an apartment and I be doing my hair and she be doing her hair and we'll put a movie on and we'll talk shit. And I do my pedicure and I paint my nails and she did her makeup. And that is what I do with my sister. And then you know how that night ends? Not in sex, because that's my sister, right? And once we get through talking shit and laughing at a movie and eating something and sitting on the couch, then okay, then it's over. She goes to her apartment and I go to mine or whatever. That is not what I want to do with my man. That is so not what I wanna do with my man. Yes, cats if a g Cat said, "If a guy likes a rom-com, I'm giving him the side eye. If he doesn't want sex, I'm giving him the side eye." Yes. If I'm chilling with a guy and I cooked for him and I fed him and I can cook, honey. So I fed him well, and I am putting on my best feminine charm. I'm giving him the doe eyes, I'm giving him the soft voice, I'm giving him the smile with the dimples. I'm sitting next to him on the couch, and, I kind of reach over and I kind of get a little close. If that dude don't pull nothing, are you on your period? I wanna know. The people wanna know what's going on because I'm giving you all of this wonderful feminine energy and you not moving on it. What's wrong with you? I'm like, what's wrong with you? What's the problem? Because you got a problem. It's something. Are you gay? Do you just not wanna are you just not attracted to me? Because I don't know why if you're not attracted to me why you're over here. Because you know what it was. Hold on. Yeah, you knew what this was. You know? Yes, it is, Officer Faulkner. That is an open if I'm sitting and I'm doing all this and you know, I'm giving you the eyes, you know, I'm giving you the I'm, batting them and I'm giggling and shit at the little shit you say and, it's just so damn funny and, you know, you're just so charming to me and I've even tossed the head to the side and kinda giggled into my hand. I'm doing a whole bunch of feminine shit, and you sitting there what? With a stone face? Get out. Out, I want you out. I want you out. Yeah, definitely. That's the "come hither. Please come hither and do to me what you will." And if that nigga don't move after he get the come hither green light, what's your problem? What's your problem? You gay. Nigga, you gay. Or you suspect, and suspect is gay in my book. It is what it is. That's all it is. So that description of a relationship is the stupidest shit that I have ever heard in my life. Who has a relationship like that? Nobody. And women are being taught that these are relationship goals when your man can be your friend. Like, what the fuck? What's going on, Grinch? My nigga Grinch, what's up? And I'm trying to figure out they're giving these women this as a relationship goal. But this is a dumbass goal. This is not how and it's a goal based on not understanding anything about the nature of men. Nothing. They understand nothing about what men actually do. So, crew, you know what, right? I'm not messing with y'all today. Cause how you gonna say, now Kendra, some women use that as deflection for they cooch stink or the dude don't want them sometimes not gay, just not fucking with that particular one. Like it ain't, who I am as a man. It's just you, bitch. Like when I got in your presence, bitch, everything changed. Shit. Damn. I ain't know you. Your hygiene was like this. Oh my God. No, I feel you. Yes, brother Rob, I am from the Shy. And how are you? And Charles, you gonna learn. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, let's see. June is on extreme independence trumps femininity. What do you mean by that? In what way? In what way, June, does extreme independence trump femininity? I don't get what you mean by that. Oh, you saying if she's extremely independent, then she can't be feminine. And you know what? And I tend to agree with that. And I agree with that because the same socialization and teaching that teaches a woman to be extremely independent like that also simultaneously teaches her that the things that characterize femininity are weak. That is her weakness as a woman. And so therefore she should shun those things. This is why I'm called a pick me and women like me are called stupid stupid women, and we just want pats on the head from men, and we don't have any brain in our head. That's why we're called that, because we are embracing characteristics of womanhood that have been shunned over the last 40 or 50 years via feminism. So because we embrace these things and we don't want to run every man down and things of that nature, then we are called pick me women and mammies and so forth and on, because we're really betraying the sisterhood. We're betraying women like me. We betray the sisterhood. We will never be embraced by the sisterhood. Never. We would have to, the first thing we would have to do is renounce our womanhood. And the second thing that a woman like me would have to do is renounce my brothers. And I would have to pick up the mantra of black men ain't shit in order to be accepted into the sisterhood, as it were. So because I don't do that, and because that's not my mindset and that's not what's in me, I will never be acceptable in the so-called sisterhood ever. So yes, um, femininity is trumped by the extreme independence. And that's probably what that guy was really talking about. No man wants a woman that just isn't feminine, or she has no femininity ever. He doesn't want that. You know, I'm not a damsel in distress type of female. Like, if something's going on, I'm real ready to do it myself. You know, I'm real ready to let's go. Let's do this. You know, I'm doing this. I got it. I'm real. I got it type of female. But every once in a while, I would purposely not have it. I would purposely not. No, I can't do that. Even sometimes if I could. No, I can't do that. Could you do that for me, please? Thank you. Because he got to feel needed by me. And there were times where I did actually need him. that there were times where I could not have without him. And then I did need him. I did. And I didn't have any issue expressing that to him. I need you, please. He was more than happy to do what he is built to do. It's just that I never knew that so many women had this distorted view of men. Men are never supposed to have any insecurity, weakness, um, you know, thing that they're not totally good at, thing that they're not doing totally well. They every man can't do everything perfectly. Zay Lavelle says, why does it seem to be a sisterhood only when discussing men? What other times does the sisterhood exist? No other time. No other time. Sisterhood only exists when it's time to say that black men ain't shit. That's the only time it exists. Because it doesn't exist otherwise. Because black women hate on each other when it comes to other stuff. You have to toe the line and you have to be bitter and you have to be angry. And if you're not, then you're not part of the so-called sisterhood. But the sisterhood is toxic. Yeah, I only have a sisterhood with my sister. And I have a sisterhood with like-minded women because I have a sisterhood with Cats and with Char and with the other ladies who are like-minded. I have a sisterhood with them because it starts with us being like-minded on certain issues, but it also extends because like I'm if Cats does something that is beneficial to her, that is good for her and she's proud of it, then I am proud of that for her. I don't look at it and say, what the fuck she thinks she doing? No, not at all. If Char Willie were to write today to say, um, she's gonna start a YouTube channel of her own, and that YouTube channel blows up and it's bigger than mine, I'm not going to be like, fuck Char Willie. No. Like that's my girl. I'm gonna do everything I can to promote and to help her. It doesn't matter to me. What she's doing doesn't affect me. If I want my stuff to grow, then I should grow it. You see? So, a numinous, they're not going to listen to it. If they do listen to it, I'm just going to further their thought that I'm a pick me and a mammy. Because I just don't see black men in that light. I just don't see all black men as these ain't shit, stupid, unable to lead, unable to think, unable to do anything group of men. I just don't see them that way. I just don't see my brothers that way. Are there black men out there who really ain't shit? Yeah, sure. Sure there are. We spent the better part of this year calling out nifnons and dishwashers. Those are all the ain't shit dudes with the weird ass mindsets and the weird ass way they move as men. Niggas move funny. And we've been calling them out. But I just don't see all black men that way. I just don't. And the men that I associate myself with don't see all black women a particular way either. They're able to point out the goofy shit that women do anywhere from goofy shit to really harmful shit, they're able to call that out all the time. But they still will express a love and express a desire for Black women. You see? They still will say, I hear a lot, even when I'm listening to streams that are really going in on Black women. I see Black men coming in all the time, but we still love them. We still love our sisters. We still love our sisters. We still want Black women. There's nothing like a Black woman. We still want them. I have yet to see, excuse me, I have yet to see a video where a woman is going in on Black men, where the women are saying, but we still want our brothers, but we still love our Black men. We still want them. We still love them. You know, cats. I love Valdez too, but that's the wrong link, baby. So if anybody wants to support, you can, because I do not have super chat yet. Maybe they'll give it to me, maybe they won't. Um, so no, it's okay, cats. Um, I always see Black men say that they love their women. They just want them to change. They just want them to basically Black men want Black women to reestablish the social contract that they had. That's what they want. Reestablish the social contract. Leave the socialization and the brainwash basically that the dominant society has imposed. And let's do our thing over here, you know, to make our contract among ourselves. The men will do this, the women agree to do this. And this is how we will go forward. This is how we will go forward as a group. Because there's no way that we can go forward without an agreement. There must be an agreement between the two of us, between the men and the women. Because if there's no agreement, there's no moving forward. We can forget everything else when there's no agreement. And we can't go back and forth. Hello, Marcus. We can't go back and forth. One minute we're adopting the mindset of the dominant society, the next minute we're not. We have to choose a side and stick to it come what may, regardless of what is happening outside of us. We have to make the contract between each other. And as long as women are going to say things like, well, a real man would never do that. And it's like, how do you know what a real man is? Have you ever seen a real man in action? And why do we use such shaming language? A real man. Define real man. Define it. And when they give you the definition, it is something out of a Disney movie. To them, a real man is large and strong and handsome and rich. He's also extremely understanding, extremely in touch with all of his emotions, and he doesn't want sex from you unless you want it from him. And he always neglects his own needs in preference for yours. That is what a real man is according to Disney and feminism. So I'm going to repeat the qualities of a real man according to Walt Disney and feminism. He is big physically and strong, meaning he has a nice physique. He is handsome. He is um, rich. He is extremely in touch with all of his emotions. He doesn't want any sex from you unless you want it from him. He completely does not see women as any sexual object at all, which is ridiculous. And he always neglects his own rights and his own preferences for yours. And that is not any human being on the face of this earth, man or woman. That person does not exist. They simply don't exist in reality. They don't. Men are never to fold under any pressures at all, ever. They don't need support systems. They don't need emotional support. They don't need um, they don't need anything. They have everything figured out on their own with no assistance from either other men, certainly not from women, and the women are simply there to reap the benefits of whatever the man can produce. This man that doesn't need anything but his own two hands and his ingenuity to do anything. He simply does not operate on the basis of a human being, you know? Hold on for one moment. I apologize for that. We only gonna be on for a little while longer. And yes, Dave Wade, I described a robot. That is like being in a relationship with a male um Siri or something. Just go get a sex bot. I don't know. Or maybe not a sex bot because they don't because feminism would have you believe that women don't like sex while simultaneously espousing women's sexual liberty. I don't know how that works. Um That's kind of the point, Arab Black. Arab Black TV says, "What do y'all say though? What's your definition of a man? Because it's personal on down to time spent. You may not consider a certain person until they grow on you." In a way, I can see what you're saying, but this is more general, and that's sort of the point. Women cannot define manhood. We can't. Just like men can't define womanhood. They don't know how to do it. They just know it when they see it. And women are the same. We know it when we feel it. When men make us feel a certain way, that is, we recognize him as this man is displaying his masculinity and his manhood to me because it makes me feel a certain way when I am around him. Ooh, CC Sanders, don't get me started. CC Sanders said feminism also have you believe that transgender women are real women and straight men should date them. That is true. That is true. But you know what though? You know what the sad part about it is? So many women support transgendered women and will ask them things about womanhood. They will ask a person who has spent all of their childhood and their adult life as a man, who then has, or they may have had it when they were young, gender dysmorphia. So they've got an issue psychologically where they think that they are the opposite gender. And you have those that go so far as to live their lives as that opposite gender. What do I look like going to a known transgender asking them about womanhood? This is an individual that has never bled for 5 days in a month, ever. This is an individual that will never have to buy a tampon, ever. Um, that that's a horse of a different color. See, you're really gonna get me started, CC, because women support what would basically be their replacement, right? Potentially. How you support your replacement? You should be offended that there is any man walking this earth that thinks that womanhood is makeup, clothes, a weave, and I don't know, liking dick. But then again, this is what a lot of black women think womanhood is anyway. And that's the sad part. They think womanhood is clothes and makeup and a wig and liking dick. And then that's all there is to being a woman. Hello, poetic Kales, and thank you for joining us. Exactly, cats. Who would ask Bruce Jenner, who spent the first 65 years of his life about womanhood? And he's been a man the whole time with like wives, not one wife, not two wives, like three ex-wives, 3, 4 ex-wives, and a bunch of kids. Hey, Sakiba, how you doing? I haven't seen you around. Let me go back up because there was another question. Crew asked me, have black men ever done anything to fight white supremacy, knowing the upcoming deflections such as just white cooch? Of course, black men have done things to fight white supremacy. That started on the plantation. That started no, no, no. Correction. Black men fighting against their slavery and against white supremacy started on the slave ship. That's why so many of us died on the passage, the Middle Passage. So many ships sank because the men simply would rather die than be faced with whatever they were going to be faced with. They would simply would have rather died. Everyone. And I can't blame them. You're taking us somewhere you obviously don't have good intentions for us. So let's all die. How about that? We're all gonna die right here on this ocean. Whatever you intend for us, it simply will not come to pass. Because I feel like I'm gonna die when I go wherever you taking me. And they would have been right. They were right. And for those who survived the Middle Passage, they attempted to keep themselves together. It was simply torn apart. It was chattel slavery. We were dehumanized altogether dehumanized under a rigorous system that the slaves did not see as a system. They saw it as slavery, yes, but we didn't realize white supremacy until the civil rights movement. We didn't realize that it was systematic. It was quite on purpose. It was, it wasn't just racism. It wasn't just hating black people because they were black. It was a completed system designed to keep a slave class. That is what white supremacy was designed for, to keep an elite class and keep a slave class that would serve them. That is what it has done. That was the purpose of it. That continues to be the purpose of it. The racism part of it and is simply um to keep the status quo of the supremacy part of it. Because if you convince all the white people that they are superior, then that makes them feel better about supporting and implementing such a system and keeping it going. Because they view themselves that if I don't keep it going, then I fall into the slave class and I don't want to. So therefore, since I don't want to be the slave class, so I will support that group being the slave class. Even if I don't feel it in my heart, I will support it anyway because I don't want to be in the slave class. This is why I say that the overwhelming majority of white people are racist because they support white supremacy, even just on the basis of them not wanting to see what the other side lives like. They support the system. They don't work to dismantle it because then they would be ground underneath it. And they know that. They're not stupid, you know. So I indict nearly the entire white race with white supremacy because they work to maintain it. Even if they don't feel the superior part, they understand class systems. So they don't want to be at the bottom of the totem pole. So they will support a system that destroys you because they don't want to be destroyed. Kill or be killed. And they don't want to be killed. Well, reparations would be an admission of guilt. Junin zone. That would be an admission of guilt, and it would also be saying that we will no longer implement white supremacy over you, which they have no intention of not doing. So you can't get reparations. The Native Americans serve no purpose now, so they can get reparations. They got the casinos, and they don't have to pay taxes. Like they're doing them a favor. You see, they have no usefulness. Black people, on the other hand, have a ton of usefulness, and this is probably what my next live is going to be about: the actual chattel slavery that Black men still undergo underneath the 13th Amendment within privatized prisons. Because we still serve a purpose as the slave class. And this is why the argument of Black men have not done anything to fight against white supremacy is neither here nor there. That argument is in the wind, because I would challenge anyone making such an argument to define what fighting white supremacy looks like. What that would be my question. What does fighting white supremacy look like? And if you can't give me the overall the the skeleton for that, the outline for that, then I don't want to hear it, because you don't even know what that looks like. And if you don't know what it looks like to fight white supremacy, how do you know Black men don't do it? You don't even have an idea in your mind about what fighting white supremacy even looks like. You don't have a plan. So if you don't have a plan and you don't know what it looks like to fight it, how do you know that Black men don't fight it? BGS, you're exactly right. They're no longer a threat. So sure, they can get reparations or whatever passes for reparations. What difference does it make now? None. But we're still a functioning slave class. We still function. We're functioning perfectly for them, actually. Our dysfunction is perfect because we can't think to have the organization necessary to overcome the socialization or to help our future generation overcome it. The older generation is shot. We're not going to necessarily be able to simply overcome the socialization that we have had. But for those of us who have woken up to what it is, have a responsibility to prevent as much as we possibly can that same brainwash from happening to our children. This is one reason why I advocate homeschooling. And those of us creating our own schools, there's a Black man in Chicago who actually did um, create a school for Black children. Very successful. He just took a different approach to teaching, and with a focus on Black boys, because he realized that Black boys don't learn anything in public school. Hello, Gap Talk. He noticed that they don't get anything, and Black boys don't get anything out of public schools. They're averse. It's the Black boys who are the most averse to the socialization. They're the most averse. because the black boys they'll drop out of school. And sometimes the black boys, they don't know why they're averse to school. They won't be able to pinpoint why, but they'll know that they don't like what is happening there. And so they'll leave it. They'll Yes, brother Rob, it's Marcus. Marcus is the brother that I'm talking about that created a school. One of my best friend's sons went to his school. Very bright boy. And so our black men, even as boys, very resistant to the socialization. Naturally, they're naturally resistant to a feminist, gynocentric based education. They don't want it. And sometimes they can't put their finger on why they don't like school. It's not because they're dumb. It's not because they can't do the work. I've seen a lot of our boys, if you sit them down with the work, they can do the work. The work is fine. They comprehend the material. That's not the problem. They don't like the environment of it, though, the environment that they have to be in, where there's a lot of control, especially in the hood and in schools in the hood. There's a strong police presence. Feels like prison to them. It feels like they're going through the system and they don't like it. They don't like that. They don't like the who would? You go to school and you get patted down and sent through a metal detector, and there are random searches of your lockers by the police in the schools. Um, Random searches conducted by teachers. Um, and they feel the oppression of it already. So they don't like going. They don't like it. So our men, like I said, even as boys, naturally resistant to the system. The girls go to school faithfully because we're female and we will adjust to the environment. And men oppose it. It happens naturally. Our boys oppose school, not because they don't like being educated. They just don't like all of the rest of it that goes with the control factors and the brainwashing. They know it's brainwashing, even if they can't pinpoint and tell you that I don't like going to school because I'm being brainwashed. They know it's a brainwashing, so they don't like it. And some boys will go understanding that it's a brainwashing, but they also understand that sometimes they don't have another alternative. They're going to have to go through the system and try to come out the other side so that they can oppose the environment on a bigger level than simply refusing to go to school, which is almost like a protest. Black boys refusing to go to school is nearly a protest of school. They're protesting it but they're voting with their feet. They don't want to do it. Hello, Victor. So that kind of goes in with what black men do to fight white supremacy. The first thing that they attempt to do is not be brainwashed by it. They want to do something else. They do not want the brainwash that comes with it. That's awesome. I'm glad you could join us. So we only got maybe about 15 more minutes before I get out of here and start chasing paper. You know, I gotta hustle. Daniel, yeah, it got a lot of boys in trouble because the boys would challenge it. They would question it. Why are you talking to us this way? Why are you why are you teaching us this? This doesn't have anything to do with the subject. Why are you telling us this? We don't like this. I had there were a lot of boys. There were a lot of boys in my class like that, Daniel, that just they didn't like it. They would always question the teacher, and those are the boys that were sent to the office and, you know, he didn't wanna do the work, not because he despised education, but he saw, first of all, there's no point. He's not learning anything from this, and it didn't make much sense. It was nothing that he could use, either right at that moment, nor, in the future. They do. Our black boys have a certain way that they do things. And a lot of women, a lot of black women, because of the subversion of feminism and this gynocentric society that we live in, simply they've lost touch with recognizing manhood, and they don't understand it. And so, since they don't really understand it, they don't know how black men actually operate. They're only looking at how white men operate and likening that to manhood, but it's not. Black men are, yes, Curlin, I have a Patreon. I'll put it in the description box um, after this video uploads. Black men just operate differently because they're operating like men. And women they have to start recognizing what manhood is. And the one way to do that is to listen to the men when they say what manhood is. This goes all the way back to my first video, ignoring black men. We ignore them. We ignore everything that they say. We ignore everything that they say. And we go with our own interpretation of it. We go with our own interpretation of manhood, which is something that's given to us. It's not even anything that we've observed on our own. It's a concept given. And it's a concept steeped and based in men simply not being human. They're robots. There to gather resources and give them to you. You know? Because with robots and AI, we don't expect we hate glitches, right? That's why my show was late because my laptop glitched out on me. It almost drove me crazy because you're an AI. You're electronic. You're not human. You do what I want. Do what I want you to do when I want you to do it. That is how I treat my electronics. I want my phone and my laptop and everything, and to do what I want it to do when I want it to do it, and not a moment before or after. And when it does not do what I want it to do, when I want it to do, and how I want it to do, I get very upset with my laptop and my phone because I run it. I own it. It is mine, and I tell it what to do. This is the same concept. Women kind of think that they own men, and so they're supposed to do what I want them to do, when I want them to do it, how I want them to do it. And when they do not do all of those things in the manner in which I would like it to be done, then I get upset with them. I get upset with them. And I tell them how they're not shit because I cuss my phone out. Let it do something I don't want it to do. I will cuss that phone all the way out. If I don't have iPhone, so it's not Siri, but if the little Google assistant is listening, that bitch got cussed out on several occasions. Okay. This laptop got cussed out just today because it wouldn't let me do what I wanted to do. Throw it out the window. I call Hewlett Packard right now and cuss them out about this laptop because it's not supposed to do stuff I don't want it to do. It's supposed to do just what I want it to do when I want, and when I say, right? And so men are supposed to be like that for women, right? Right, guys? Aren't you supposed to do what I say, when I say, how I say? And if you don't, then I'm going to get mad, right? That's what feminism says, that you're supposed to just do what I want. And if you don't do what I want, then you're not a real man. I'm supposed to do some shaming language. You're not a real man. And I get to wag my finger at you and all of that good stuff because you don't do what I want you to do, right? I want you to cater to me and all of my feelings and emotions and thoughts, whether they're logical or not, cater to them anyway. And, I don't want you to objectify me, but I do want you to fuck me when I say. I don't know how that works. We're not going to explore the illogical, balance of that, but please do exactly that. Don't womanize me, but please screw me when I need you to. You see how it's hypocritical. What's going on, psychopathist? That's my dude. What's up, dude? I missed your live, man. I saw you had a wake and bake, but I was busy. I couldn't tune in. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna catch your stuff, man, because you be going in. Yeah, Victor, don't womanize me, but please, 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 please have sex when I want. KP, what I do is I'm going to start posting all of my lives to my DJ Fish Grease channel. So if you subscribe to that channel too, um, then you'll be able to see the lives that I do because I'm not gonna leave them on my main channel just in case people get a bright idea to flag them. because I need my live ability to stay up on this channel. But yeah, I'm actually gonna get out of here in a few minutes. Please, poetic. Everybody hit the notification bell and all of that good stuff so you can be in the loop because YouTube likes to play. It's worse than that, Victor. It's worse than saying don't foreplay, just go in. It's worse than that. It's like don't go in, but go in. It's worse. You see? Do it, but don't do it. Please do it, but don't do it. Please womanize me and call me all type of bitches and whores, but don't do it. You're a bad, bad man if you do that. But in the secret of our bedroom, I want to be called a bitch and a whore and pull my hair and screw me like you don't have any respect. You see? They want to be respected, but they don't want to be respected. Oh, Sakiba, you two play a lot of games. Sweetheart, you know that. You know they play lots of games with people with real channels that have actual information. You said masculine mademoiselles. Numinous Ray, I'm done. You said, yep, those are masculine mademoiselle. And you know what? I am so for being a lady in the street and a freak in the sheets. That like defines me. I'm totally a lady. Totally a lady. I will be so feminine with you. Because I like pulling out that masculine in men, even when it's a non sexual situation. Even do it when there's no sex or when there's no nothing. Just, I like pulling that out of men because I like men. I like seeing it. All that they call toxic masculinity, I love all of that. I love all of that. And just a quick sidebar on toxic masculinity. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is simply masculinity. Okay. If you are a toxic person, then you're just an asshole. All right. Because there are toxic men and toxic women, and they're just assholes. That's all they are. Has nothing to do with the femininity or the masculinity. It's just asses. Toxic masculinity. I'm going to tell you what that means when feminists say that. Toxic masculinity is anything that a man does that a woman would think to herself, wow, I wouldn't do that. Or a man handles a situation in a way where a woman says, I would never handle that situation that way. Or he performs something and she does not understand his motive or the logic behind what he has done. That is toxic masculinity to feminists. Anything that a man does that she simply does not understand why he did it, then that is toxic masculinity to them. If he displays any traditional trait of a man that does not benefit them, that is toxic masculinity. because when he performs things that benefit them, like providing, maintaining, giving over the resources, giving over the sex, then that's not toxic masculinity. That's good masculinity. But if he does something that is not directly beneficial to a woman, and he's doing it because he's a man, because these are his instincts, because this is his drive as a male to do certain things, that's toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is having 4 women in rotation, but it's toxic masculinity because they don't understand that that's within the nature of most men, right? So, it's only toxic when they don't understand it, or when they or when it goes against their feminist um, you know, sensibilities. And you're right. Psychopathia says women who talk about toxic masculinity or patriarchy are not only feminists, they are misandrists. They are. They did have a hatred for men. And I seriously think it stems from simply not understanding men and not wanting to understand them. And when you don't understand men and you don't want to understand them, excuse me, then you fail to have empathy for them. You can't empathize because empathy and sympathy are two different things. Sympathy is when you feel sorry for someone, that something has happened to them. Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. That is sympathy. Empathy is when you are able to put yourself in their shoes and understand what is happening to them. That is empathy. And so when women fail to understand men, they fail to identify with men, and identifying with them is empathy. So they don't have empathy for men. And when you don't have empathy for men, then nothing that they do that goes against your sensibilities make any sense to you. And since they don't make any sense to you and you can't identify with them, you shun them and shame them. You shame the behavior in the hopes that you can shame men out of certain behavior. You see? So that is the failure of women. That's not a failure of men. Because women want empathy from men. Ask any woman, even myself, and I'm not a feminist. But I would like men to sort of empathize with women, kind of see where we're going from, have an understanding of female nature, and then act accordingly to that. And with a little bit of empathy, with a little bit of wisdom, and sort of approach us and sort of, you know, we like that. I like it. I like it when a man has some shows some empathy to me as a woman. But then that has to be reciprocated. You can't ask for something you are unwilling to give. You ask for empathy, but you are unwilling to give it. I want understanding, but I refuse to understand you. I want you to identify with me, but I refuse to identify with you. It doesn't work that way. It simply does not. You see? It just doesn't work that way. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and get on off of here. I'm sorry. I apologize that I started late and I had all of these technical issues. I was really trying to um, do this on time within that little time slot. So I'm going to continue to try to be both punctual and consistent. So Saturdays at around 3 Central, I'm going to start putting up the reminders because I had forgotten. So I put up the reminder today, but um, I'm going to start putting up the reminder, at least a day ahead so everybody can know. And I'll be sure to make sure that my stuff is working properly. Crew, one of these days, I'm actually going to use the camera that you so graciously bought me. It is still sitting here. Um, I uh, I had gotten the tripod for it and everything. So I am going to doll myself up one of these days, and I'm gonna get my butt on the camera because I don't want you to feel like it's unappreciated. It was very much appreciated. So I'm going to use the gift that I was given. Okay. All right. So I love you all. Thank everybody for joining me today. Um, Next week, I'm gonna open up the panel. I want to have a good discussion, and because I don't mind dissenting views. I actually want a panel with people that dissent views with me, so we can discuss it. So, in any case, I love you all. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. I'm gonna repost this on my other channel, so you guys can check that out and kind of go over this live if you want to. All right, love you. Bye bye.